is a journey to understand our being holistically so that we can transform holistically. So we are practicing this meditation. The week one was all understanding the nuance of meditation. Then we understood scientifically how health could be gained, radiant health could be gained. Just with eliminating the stress, 95% is received, and many other things. Physical quotient, physical vitality. Then we understood week three, emotional well being, how we can ultimately recognize, how we can develop those great friendships, relationships with the people around in our companies, in our communities, families. This week, we'll understand our thoughts create reality. So we'll understand from how do we apply these principles, which called manifestation principles. How do we apply these principles in our daily life? How do we determine what is important, not important? That we'll get to know as we meditate. What is, how do we determine within what we know, what is important, what's not important, and how do I apply the knowledge of how do I rectify my mind so that we can actually apply those principles in manifesting or living a beautiful life. Yesterday, Shreyans Daga was talking about manifestation is all about emotional vibration, what vibration that you have. He was mentioning, he was a great manifestation master. He was mentioning, stop looking at physical objects, stop thinking about physical objects. Instead, feel. It's all about feeling because the feelings are much more powerful. And then feelings are much more powerful than even thought. So there are two aspects. First, where is my attention? Is my attention on a physical matter? So manifestation, if your attention is on a physical object, this and that, then we're trying to say changing matter to matter. Matter is trying to be changed to matter because we are body and they're trying to make it create another matter. Whereas what you're saying is that may happen, but it will take forever. But if it's all about your vibration, how is your vibration? This means what are you? Then he's talked about feeling. What is a vibration? It's about feeling. We have thoughts and feelings. So vibration is created by these thoughts and feelings. Thought is energy, feeling is energy. Feeling is much powerful energy. Thought is X, feeling is up to 5,000 times energy. So if you can if you can emit a feeling about something, that means you're no longer operating in the physical world and the physical thing. Instead, you're operating in a vibrational world, in an energy world. So we'll understand this concept of why, what is he saying? You got to change your vibrational signature. That's essentially moving from a state of where when I look at something, when I look at a colleague and say they got a promotion, I want promotion. When I look at this vehicle, I want this. Or when I look at Patrizi and then, oh, he's learned so much, so I want to become that. Where your attention is on clearly matter, this whole manifestation is saying that if your attention is on matter and say, okay, you're looking at this and say this is what you want, versus we can change yourself and then you start, instead of physical attention on a physical matter, if you can change that into an vibration, into an energy form, there is energy to matter. Everything is getting created from energy to matter. So if you can go into an energy form, then you're creating your vibrational signature is now around that energy, not focused on the matter. Manifestation science This week we'll understand first what is this energy field, which we talked about. So far, not understood. So today we'll understand quantum field. We'll understand a little bit of physics. To understand this quantum energy field, first everything is energy. I am energy. Then I'm only tiny matter. If I think matter to matter, if I see this object, this thing I want, then we're thinking as a matter and then asking for matter. This whole manifestation science, we're elevating ourselves to energy because we are in the quantum field, we're all energy, unlimited possibility. So we elevate ourselves to the energy. So thoughts and feelings is energy. We go into that level, not looking at this one, but be in here, thoughts and feelings. And if we elevate ourselves to become energy, and then send those change our vibrations about a certain feeling, and then I'll understand this in detail this whole week. So that meditation that we are doing regularly is increasing our energy level, increasing our thought power. We are several memory parts. One of them is thought power. Increase our thought power. And meditation is increasing the thought power. Meditation is removing unwanted things. So automatically, whatever that we are changing through energetically, whatever we are thinking, or if our energy pattern is changed, automatically that has to manifest physical reality. So energy pattern change means our vibrations, our feelings have to change. Our state of being has to change. How do I stay in a whole day has to change. If I'm wishing for something, what am I thinking about? How am I thinking? There is a way to think about, there's a way to feel about it. So am I doing enough feeling? So in order to get something in our lives, we got to set a vibrational pattern around it. So we understand the science of manifestation. When manifestation principles are combined with meditation, they become very powerful. Because manifestation is about going into that emptiness and going beyond the body. Manifestation is going beyond the body, because in order to change your energy pattern, you got to go beyond the body. Anything you state is then, it's called energy changing matter. If I take an ice cube from the tray and it is in the shape of square, so if I take that, the square shape ice cube, I want to change it into triangle shape. Chipping it off will take a long time. You know that. Apply energy and make it water, and then put a different cast, and then it becomes so perfect, beautiful. Our efforts are minimal. Same thing, when we become energy and then apply in the energy field whatever that we're wanting, so then we work at the energy level. So we change, instead of asking for matter and asking, sir, I need to create more money or more this or more that. And so we elevate ourselves and then change vibration. That's called doing energy work. Thought and feeling difference. In a simple terms, it's called also dreaming. That's all. Nothing more. When we do not question and doubt that our thoughts create reality, our feelings create reality, and then just dream about anything, then automatically we're changing our vibration. In a layman terms, it's just dreaming. Dreaming about things with a lot of feelings. Then automatically we're changing our vibration signature. So we'll understand this today. We'll understand the quantum energy. We'll start with quantum energy field because that's where it starts. Then we understand neuroscience way of how, first, what is this infinite possibility field, and second, then how our subconsciously whatever that we have here is how it's projecting into that field to manifest. And then we understand where is this vibrational signature that is in the picture here. Let's go into our meditation. As before, this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, is 3 classes to understand this science. Then, of course, interspersed with the rest of the days with a lot of sharing, so that we understand this science a lot more. And also, we're going to introduce a slight variant of the meditation this week, something that helps us to change our vibration signature. Relax yourself, sit comfortably. For those of you who are new, we are doing breath mindfulness meditation, which is called Anapanasati. We are body, mind, and energy. A body as a matter is very little, and then energy is maximum, according to science. So when we rest our mind, then we feel that energy, or the feel energy is emptiness. So we feel when we rest our mind, when we completely remove all thoughts from our mind, then we start automatically becoming empty, and then emptiness is energy. So in our meditation, we need to empty our mind. To empty the mind, we observe natural breath. We take anywhere in the nose, any point in the nose, and observe the breath is going in and coming out, going in and coming out. And finally, slowly, slowly, the breath will become lighter. Many people understand it, we can feel it. Some may not feel it. But as you are with the breath, the breath is getting lighter, so slowly, 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 there'll be a point where the breath becomes so non-existent, and that's the time we are switching to the other side, where we are becoming totally empty. Our goal is to become totally empty. When we become totally empty, then we start experiencing that energy, which is that emptiness. We'll have several kinds of feelings. We may have different kinds of feelings, sensations. So just be a witness and be observing to what you experience during meditation. Be a witness. Do not interpret, just be a witness. So that's called breath mindfulness meditation, or anapanasati meditation. That's what we will do for most of the time. And before we do that, there is something called heart elevation, where we're going to feel our heart gratitude, compassion, any of these heightened emotions. So we will do that for about 5 minutes. Just follow me actively during this process of heart elevation. So breath mindfulness posture is what you see in this picture. Fingers into fingers. Rest your hands comfortably in your lap. Eyes closed, remove the specs, and then cross your feet. So this is a posture. 3 things: crossing the feet, fingers into fingers, resting hands comfortably, and then closing your eyes. This is the posture for breath mindfulness meditation. And heart elevation process is where you're keeping your hands on your chest area, and then follow my guidance very actively in this process. And after that, I would say, let's go into breath mindfulness meditation. That time, you're switching to this posture. And then you start observing your breath. Relax yourself, dear friends. Sit comfortably. With your eyes closed. So when we record that experience, how did you feel? Who have you become? What did you see? Because we have different types of experiences. Our sensations, the feelings, visions, or any flashes, or who have you become? If you felt that vastness in you, you felt like the Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, the Vishwarup, your grander form of yourself, or you felt like a ball of compassionate energy. Many are possible. We feel like we are just an energy ball. We feel like we are light. Any of those when I'm saying that recollect. So when you recollect, we are firing our brain again. So we record it better. And then we remember that experience. So of course, things that are very profound will naturally remember. But otherwise, when you try to do that, then you recollect some, then you're storing it. So each one adds to the other in future, sort of connecting the dots. Your experiences only you can interpret because the energy experience is infinite, but you will be able to interpret one with the other at some point when we have a very powerful transcendental experience. That time say, oh, okay, so I know last month I've been feeling this way. The previous sessions I've been feeling this way. This particular, I've been looking into some kind of mountain or some kind of shape and some kind of snow and this and that. Okay, now I know where I've gone to this. I'm experiencing energy of Lord Shiva in Himalaya mountains, maybe. So you'll be able to connect some of those. So it's good to recollect. And then things that are very, very clear, crystal clear for you, then of course you're writing down to connect them with other experiences over a period of time. So science of manifestation starts with understanding that we are not mere matter, we are energy. Number one, that there is any amount of opportunity and any amount of possibilities exist in that energy. That Karthikeyan popularly says, nothing is impossible, not possible. Nothing is impossible. That everything is possible. That there is no limit. Every time we say we are unlimited, it has to show up somewhere. What is that unlimited? There's no limit of what we can create. Are there limited amount of enjoyments? How many types of enjoyments that we can have? How many types of things we can create? If I'm a designer who is making toys, how many toys one can create? The designers in these toy companies like Mattel and this and that, how many types of toys they can create? If you are with a group of people, how many types of experience that we can have? What are things we can do? There is any amount of them we can. There's no limit, unlimited. It is only our thinking that limits us. Spladding, I'm trying to read this book. Keith Spladding. I think there are a group of them. They came to India in the late 80s, wanting to understand this transcendental, out of the body experience of many yogis. So they documented late 80s, the group of them, experience of a person in front of them, that master is there in front of them here. Then this master tells them that, okay, I'll take you to many mystics in the Himalayas, so let's walk on the path. But tell you what, from now this point to the next point that we're going to go into another village, it's going to take a few hours. So you guys go. By the time you reach there, I'll meet you there. So in order to demonstrate that he's not cheating, that is fine and shortcut, so one of the team members stays back with this yogi there, and then rest of them go. After a few hours of walking and all, the late 80s, so probably not even roads properly. Late 1800s. So they reach that village. To the great surprise, this master appears there. And then later, this team member comes back and joins and says, hey, at so and so this time we see this master reaching this village before us. What's going on? Was it there with you until the time? He says, yeah, in front of me only. All the time, For the last few hours, he's just with me right the where we started. Where you all started, I'm here, and then he's with me right now. I mean, all this while. So there's no question of he showing up in front of you in the other village where you reached. Any experience is possible. These are these are absolutely things that we say are not possible at all. If that kind of experience are possible, which even Yogananda Paramahamsa's teachers, Lahir Mahashya, Yukteswara Yukteswara Giri's teacher is Lahir Mahashya. Then his teacher, they say, Matar Babaji. So Lahir Mahashya used to do many of this. If you read that book, I know some of you may be attending this autobiography, Living with Himalayan Masters by Swami Rama. There are a lot of stories about things like this. How Swami Rama's master teacher used to create many things. Any experience, physical or transcendental, are possible. Because now the quantum physics is saying that everything is there. Anything that we wish to have is there as an energy. It's an energy pattern. A vibration pattern, it's there. If we can match, if we can identify that vibration pattern, and then with that observation, we can collapse that thing. We can manifest it into the physical reality. That's what quantum physics is saying. So let's understand this a little bit today. Manifestation, the essence of it is thoughts create things. Everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real. Niels Bohr, one of the greatest quantum physicists, whatever we think, all the matter, everything that we see is cannot be regarded as real, because he knows deep inside that they're actually made of, they are fundamentally, they're just energy. Everything is coming into existence because we wish and we put our attention, awareness on it. Awareness is consciousness. So where you put your attention and awareness on it, then it comes into existence. And then when you withdraw your attention and awareness, then it goes away. That's why he's saying everything that we call. So let's understand this a little more. Our body is made up of several organs, right? And all organs are made up of several cells. Billions and billions of cells are there in the body. Every organ, my liver is made up of some cells, my hand is made up of one set of cells, skin is made up of some cells, heart is made up of some cells, right? And each cell, if you go a little deeper, now you're going deeper, right, into the micro world. So then each cell is made up of molecules. We have a body, for example, 70% is water. So every organ has lots of water. Now water is by definition is called what? It's a molecule, H2O. It takes two hydrogen and then one oxygen atom, and then so you make a water molecule. So there is molecule. So water is a molecule, sodium chloride is a molecule, right? When I talk about all these chemicals that get produced, that cortisol, which is the heightened arousal chemical, which prevents us from sleeping, is a molecule. Melatonin, which is the best thing that can happen for the human, which is puts us into this transcendental states, in addition to many things, is a molecule into sleep. They're all molecules. So they're all there. The chemicals are molecules. So every organ is made up of molecules. Every cell, every organ is made up of cells to the molecules, like water and salt and all of that. And then when you go and then look deeper, then it's got atoms. So what you see in this picture is an atom. What is an atom? We know, we all read. I think, I don't know how many atoms are now there, maybe 108, 106. My memory serves me right. So many atoms are there. In chemistry, we learned all of this. Hydrogen, oxygen, chlorine, sodium. Some are gaseous, some are solid, depending on the frequency, right, in that scale. So the atoms, now what you see is a picture. So deep inside, we're fundamentally made of atoms. Now atoms, if we go a little more, subatomic particle level, if you go deeper, then we find we all learned electrons and protons. electron and nucleus. The center is nucleus, and the electrons are orbiting around the nucleus, orbiting around. So some atoms have less electrons, some atoms have more electrons, right? The number of electrons that are orbiting, so they have, some have only one or two orbits, some have many orbits. So the orbits are there where electrons are going around. Now, as far as we know, matter means some weight. It's got mass, right? There is some weight to it. It's got some, maybe it weighs 10 milligrams, 10 micrograms, 1 kg, half kg, like that, right? So ultimately our organ weighs something. So it's mass, right? So an atom that you see in the picture, dear friends, has got those tiny dots. Those are electrons which are rotating around the nucleus, which is the center light, right? On the picture on the left side here. So when you see that, and according to this particle physics that we know, Newtonian physics that we know, that there is mass to each of those particles, right? So the particles, in this case, the electron is a particle, we know. Anything that has mass has a matter, right? Because physically existing. We can see it. What is matter is physically something that we can see, and it has some weight, so we call it, it's got weight, so that is mass. But in this picture, if all those orbits, if we draw an imaginary circle around these orbits, so this is the atom, this much. In this picture, if you take out those dots and then take out the center nucleus, that light, if take those out, then how much will be still left? How much space will be left? If the place where these electrons and then center nucleus is there, if you cross it out, darken it, then rest of it is all there, the place is there. If I ask you how much of that is all left, you'd say, oh, after taking these dots out, the center nucleus part out, the light out, there still be 95% will be left in the picture. So all of that is emptiness. So at the atomic level, when you take out the electrons and nucleus, which contain matter, mass, everything else is emptiness. And then for our naked eye, we see that at least 95% should be empty in the picture. Because if I say the only thing that has got weight is anything that's not empty, and anything that's not empty is only those dots, which are electrons and the center nucleus. And then if that is only 5%, everything else is 95%, which is empty. No matter, empty, naked eye. But tell you what, if you look at this third bullet, quantum physics is saying we are 99.99% empty, not 95% empty, 99.9999%. Out of 100, if 99.99 is empty, then what is left is what? 0.01%. So it is essentially saying that we are really deep inside. Every atom is empty, totally empty. Practically, it's empty. If atom is empty, then we are made up, atoms of molecules are made up of atoms, that molecules are empty. Like your water is empty, so salt is empty. All these chemicals are empty in the body. And if they're all empty, and then your proteins, your carbohydrates, they're all chemicals, they're all empty. And then when your cells are made up of these molecules, if the cell is empty, and then organs are made up of cells, so organs are empty, and a body is made up of organs, so body is empty. Simple, right? If a house has 5 bedrooms and every bedroom is emptied of all furniture, all objects, everything, so one bedroom after the other, so each bedroom is empty and all rooms are empty, then we say house is empty. Same thing, right? Our body at that point, as you can see from here, as from the science perspective, is practically empty. And what is that emptiness containing? The quantum physics say that it contains energy. And what is happening in that energy field? It's called, that is the energy field. And what's happening in that energy? It is a continuous exchange of information. Interesting, information. And this information is nothing that they observe, that is the thought. The thought is some kind of information that is going in, then you have a thought. The second bullet, then another thing they've said. So what's first great finding is that we're totally empty. The second finding is the second bullet that you see here. At subatomic particle level, everything is both wave and particle. That means, now we thought electrons And nucleus is all hard matter. It's particle. It's like a ball. It's like a marble, right? It's hard. We know that. The cell phone is hard, right? It's like, a set of particles. So, but however, quantum physics said those electrons that are there, they are particles sometimes, but they're also wave. Wave is what you see in the right side picture. Something that is a continuous piece of energy. It's got an amplitude high and low. Wave like a sea wave, it. It goes high, it comes down, goes high, it comes down. Like that, right? We have these electromagnetic waves, radio waves, you have there are various kinds of waves. The whole light spectrum is full of waves at different frequency. The whole light spectrum. We only see some part of it, about 10%, less than 10%. Animals, some of the animals see something that we don't see, we know that, right? They can see some lower frequency, higher frequency that we can see, where we can't see. So the wave is essentially nothing but a continuous piece of energy. So what they found is this: what we think is a particle, that means the electrons and nucleus, is also wave. Is simply a set of a frequency of energy that is going from one place to another. They also found out that this energy, when it becomes wave, and it is all, the whole thing is traversing beyond speed of light. Continuous exchange of information happening as in the energy field is traversing beyond speed of light, which is 300,000 kilometers per second, which practically means that to go around the earth, anything is only takes microsecond. So around that, there only microsecond. And what is that information that is going in? There is thought frequency. So every time we think of a thought, for it to go around the earth and come back, it's not even, it's microsecond. Around the earth and come back at 1 by 6th of the second. So that quickly, instantaneously, what we think can go into somewhere else, because this emptiness that is there between all atoms, which means between us, between inside the body and everywhere that emptiness exists, because the body is 99.99% empty. The cell phone is like that, 9% empty. This laptop that I see is empty, and everything around, and you are empty and I'm empty, all are empty. And then it says these the particles are also as waves. That electrons and nucleus, what we thought as matter, is actually waves. So waves means the energy is continuous like that on the right side. So my energy is right now spreading in this room. Vani in the other room is spreading, and then it extends into the Bangalore, maybe Anusha, maybe Nagapradeep, maybe Ravindra, and then other people in the Bangalore. All of us are there. Our energies are connecting each other. It goes to Coimbatore, it goes to Delhi, it goes to America. They're all connected. So the energy fields of individuals are connected with each other, because the energy, once it's a wave, we cannot stop. There's no boundary. It keeps going, right? Our TV waves, the television waves that are coming in, they're telecast somewhere in the station. But they're coming from all the way, right, to our TV, because they're coming. So if waves are going, then you need an antenna to receive it. If you have an antenna to receive it, then we receive it. And tell you what, we have an antenna in our pineal gland. When you are in this wave field, when you meditate, yesterday Patrice was saying that when the breath becomes here, when it comes here onto this middle of the eye part, and then when the breath comes there, it becomes short and short and short. And here means what? It is that third eye, which is essentially there is a pineal gland inside, which is the sixth center. With the piezoelectric effect, the pineal gland becomes an antenna. We can read this. There's some great science around it. Science is trying to understand. But there is an antenna. When you become meditator, when you go into deep meditations, then this antenna opens up. And then we start receiving a lot of information. Information are this wave energy we're receiving. Then energy is what is an exchange of information. And we receive a tons of it. But then we process a little bit of it based on the requirement. There is still a science that is not understood. We receive literally, we can receive 40 million bits, but we only take in very, very little amount of it. So we are deep inside. Quantum physics found that it's all waves as well as particle. So deep inside this matter, what we call is actually energy wave. And then the third bullet says that when observed, a subatomic particle becomes matter. When observed, a particle becomes matter. Otherwise, it's becoming energy. So they did an experimentation. In a room, they threw an electron out. And then the electron, when you throw, if it's like a ball, if you throw it, you want it to show up straight. If you're throwing in one direction, it has to throw in the direction. But when they put and said, okay, I want to see this electron right now on my right side, so it starts showing up on the right side. Otherwise, the left side starts on the left side. That's when they said, okay, observed, a subatomic particle becomes matter. When you're observing, whatever we observe is constantly changing is the definition here. So then the conclusion from the quantum physics is that atom can appear nowhere and everywhere, because an atom, if electrons are in the atom, are basically atom is empty and electrons are also becoming wave, and the nucleus becomes wave by default, and then only when somebody observes it becomes matter. So by definition, the atom also can appear nowhere because it's basically become energy. It's not there, but then somebody wants to see it, it is there. Since it's oscillating beyond, if these things are happening beyond the speed of light, they can be anywhere. They're all connected into one single thing. They can be anywhere. So when I say you become nobody, nothing, so you are essentially, we are trying to remove that matter, where attention of the matter. When you remove the attention of that electron and proton deep inside the nucleus, we remove attention of the thought, and thought is nothing but nothing. So I'm probably going back into the next slide. We're removing attention of the thought, and that every thought is nothing but a whole set of events or a whole set of things about a person, place, thing in life, and then they're all made up, ultimately made up of atoms and made up of electrons and protons. So we are removing attention of all of that. When you remove attention of all of that, what is left? We left nothing but that energy. So quantum field is saying has unlimited potential and possibilities. Why unlimited? Because now every person, every place, everything is nothing deep inside emptiness and energy is connected to each other. So the number of electrons that we got or the number of protons are billions and billions and billions and trillions. So it's unlimited of them are there. And then they all can come in any combination to come exist as a physical reality. So if this event where we all come together, where so many of us are in, more than 600 people are coming together, and then into a physical reality of having this event. So all your intention, my intentions, my thoughts, everything come together. So this is like called one possibility. So observation collapse the possibility. Observation, that is whenever we observe something, it manifests that any of these electrons and neutrons, and hence a combination them, which means that two bodies, whole things into physical reality is possible, and then understood by this experimentation done by quantum physicists.
And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So, when we throw things, that is, matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought, maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So, they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
So, friends, what we understand from this experiment, it is available by Fred Allen Wolf. Fred Allen Wolf, you can search on YouTube. If you watch it a second time or third time, you clearly understand that those marbles, those electrons, when they're fired, and when there's no observer, they're behaving like waves. So then you see multiple bands on the screen. Very clear. They understood that they're actually behaving like a wave, not as a particle. But then when the moment they put an observer, the electronic measuring machine, then they only saw two bands because they're firing electrons through slits, right? Electron is like a marble, right? If you say, keep throwing a marble onto the screen in front, it will be straight line, right? So that's what they've seen. So it is a clear conclusion that when you have an observer, first of all, we are deep inside, we are energy, we are a wave, and it is constantly existing as a wave. A wave means it can exist anywhere, right? Not in a single place. That's why it's called possibility. It can exist anywhere with anything. It can combine with anything. It can exist anywhere. So the possibilities are unlimited. When my energy and your energy and everybody's energy is combined, any combination can exist anytime. I can show up with you somewhere in US now, or together we can show up somewhere else in Pyramid Valley, or anything is possible because it's a combination of various electrons and protons and neutrons and all of that. So what they found is that when somebody observed it, that collapsed the possibility. That means it becoming real. When they're expecting the electron to show up as a particle, then it started showing up as a particle, not as a wave. Then when it becomes a particle, it went straight and then hit the wall in the single line band. So friends, every physical event, which is nothing but an experience that we're going through, is an appearance of a pattern of subatomic particles. A pattern of particles. This event that we are part of, about 350 people together and from different parts of the world, is basically nothing but collapsing the electrons and new protons of all our cells and all of in our body from various fields together as a single pattern at this time, in this place, or your place is my place, through this technology of Zoom. So all of this is like a single big pattern. It's called an event, right? It started at 6 a.m. India time and it's around 7:32 India time. So during this time, this event took place. So every physical event is an appearance of a pattern of subatomic particles influenced by what? Influenced by our observation, our attention. You thought about it, you planned it, I thought about, I planned it. We all individually thought about planning and coming to this event. And then because we continue to observe on it, like in the morning, we had an alarm to wake up. Some people thought about it and said, I have to wake up at 5:30. And then you observed about it and observed and observed, and then so you made it possible, we came together. Likewise, dear friends, everything that we have or experiencing in our life, we are constantly observing about it, knowingly or unknowingly. Anything that we're experiencing in our life is observed by us knowingly or unknowingly. It never happens because without observation, because everything in accounting science is observation. This is exactly what has been told by Vedic sciences. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. Yad bhavam, thoughts, as your thoughts are, tad bhavati, that happens, that manifests. Our thoughts create reality is fundamentally because we are emptiness. Number one, we are waves of possibility because we are all connected. If we so we are traversing beyond that speed of light at the deep subatomic particle level. So the possibilities exist because the combination of you, me, and everything that is there in the consciousness universe is so much. So any combination can produce. When I say any combination, we can produce like a miracle instrument if we want, musical instrument that doesn't exist because just a combination of electrons and protons, right? Any combination, anything you can think of is possible because they're all nothing but they're in the form of a wave. They're there in this universe. There's no separation. They're all one. Now, what exactly produces is what is the form that you can have? What is the how can you put in the observation here is that the person that electron is electronic meter in this case is thinking. It is basically sending a signal that we want to see you as a particle. It is sending that vibrational signal saying that I want to see you as a particle. So it is the electron showed up as a particle. So if we observe and we think of and we visualize and we wanting to have a certain scene or a thing in our life, for example, me, if I visualize wanting to have an experience of going into the Kailash Manasarovar in Himalayas for a period of 10 days with a group of 100 people, if I visualize that whole experience as an event, then that event ought to get manifest into the physical reality at some point. Those 100 people will also think about, independent of me, they may be also thinking that I want to go to Himalayas. I am thinking they're also independently thinking, but they all come together because everybody wanting to go to Himalayas for their Manasarovar trip. They all come together. So there'll be an event of 100 people going together. Will happen. That's what is called a sequence of a subatomic particles, is a pattern of particles coming together and producing. How do you produce it? Observation of thoughts and feelings is an experience. So every event is an experience. And then if you can have that experience constructed, if you can have that experience constructed energetically, that means through a thought, through a feeling, if you can construct it, then it becomes an experience that will become a physical reality. First, it becomes an experience in our mind, then it becomes an experience in physical reality. This much we'll learn for today, dear friends. Understanding quantum field, that everything is energy and thoughts and feelings produce a physical reality. Now, if we just understood this much, then quantum physics, when I saw the principle, it did not put any exclusions. There is no exceptions. Only this is possible, that's not possible, it's not there. That's why that example I quoted, the yogis and mystics were able to be in one place and then they produce in another place because wave of possibility. They elevate their energy to a level that you collapse yourself into another place where you say, this is where I wish to be. So they become that. Many people said, Mahathir Babaji is an energy that they say, many people say that I've seen, there are so many people in the West and India, when they're meditating, when you connect with these energies of Mahathir Baba, they say, I see him here, but then they also say, I see him here physically. How does it happen? But we are going into a different aspect of the science. Just staying within the boundaries of quantum physics, anything is possible. I want us to take away today that it's all energy and anything is possible. With our observation, with our continued thoughts and feelings, we can manifest it. We'll corroborate that with the science of how brain is working, and then what do we have to do to reprogram, or if there is any way that we can use this brain to put our thought and feeling to what we want, and then so that it happens in our life. Many leaders, knowingly or unknowingly, many such people, knowingly and unknowingly, always put their attention, observation on what they want. They are not deterred by the stuff that happens at the ground level. They may lose people, they may lose their life, they lose their money, they may lose things, but then they're always very focused on what they want. Then the moment you're focused on what you want, observation, then they are successful. That's all is it, nothing more. Many of us, when we have challenges, we forget our goal and then we get stuck in the challenges. We suddenly give up things, we get stuck in the challenge saying it's not happening. But successful leaders perceived. Perseverance, if we continued, that's why SVP sir is saying perseverance matters. When you perceive, then automatically things have to happen, they have to show up. Thank you so much, dear friends, for your time on this subject. It's my passion, I love it. Hope you got understood something from this quantum field. And each time we understand this, of course, we learn more because the recollection makes it understandable more and more, right? So cells that fire together, wire together. So we are recollecting. Of course, many of us are recollecting. When you heard me say this, I wanted to say that tomorrow on this subject of manifestation, we have Dr. Newton Kondaviti, wonderful master, medical doctor, but is the entire time devoted to this field. And I've learned manifestation principles from him long ago. First time I heard this in 2009. Not in the quantum physics way so much, but more about this whole thoughts, feelings model. And so he's joining us tomorrow to just to share some more of his knowledge on this on Tuesday. So we're inviting him to join us. Sir, any closing comments as we start with you before we close this?
Mr. Chandra, what amount of knowledge you have given us to us. In fact, for us to understand and consume, it may take some more time. So much knowledge you have been able to, exhibit, and then that means how much you might have studied and the knowledge gained, so that you are able to make us to understand. Not all that we are able to understand, I can say. Maybe it will take some more time. Some more things we have to read from the books that you have suggested. And I'm sure these are all great knowledge which I don't think anybody else can give in such a lucid and understandable manner. Thank you, Mr. Chandra.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ramani sir, for staying through. So this is a book that I would recommend to read to understand quantum physics. This is a physics book, like physics. But Amit Goswami is a great physicist, quantum physicist, and he made a great, excellent attempt to simplify. It takes a few readings, but certainly worth having it. And those of you who want to go into a little bit more technology, thank you so much. Katkin sir, thank you for staying through.
Brilliant exposition of a very difficult, complicated subject, quantum field of possibilities. That is why you are called Master Chandra, not just Chandrasekhar. I just would endorse what SVB said, but you have done a great job, Chandra. This subject needs more in-depth study and understanding, but that is why, what I say, nothing is impossible. You put it in a more positive manner, everything is possible. Why everything is possible is explained in the quantum field of possibilities. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. So I will meet back again tomorrow 6 a.m.